It'll be live, and then we'll all be live, and you can see your own YouTube as I do the sound check. Bam, 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 bam.
Performing on the biggest stage in the world was just one step in my journey.
Your journey sucks. As I do the sound check. All right, we sound good. I'll put the blocker up. Bim, bam, boom, blocker. Let's see if we can zoom a little bit without breaking it. What about fit to screen? It's fine. It's all right. It's okay. All right, I have my complicated ass setup up. I have the bracket on the left screen where y'all can't see it. I hope you can't see it, otherwise there's mega spoilers there. Yeah, okay, good. Bracket's on my left screen where you can't see it. Your version is on the right screen with the 2 lives, 1 live, and dead thing. The chat is behind the 2 lives, 1 lives, and dead thing. So I'm actually going to grab chat real quick and move it to the left screen so I can see what you're saying. Can't believe Greasus will win it all. Oh, he's gonna. All right, we're going to let people gather for just a hot minute. Just a hot minute. And we'll get going. Lots of news, but I don't want to give too much of it before people are here, but I also don't want to wait too long before starting, so we'll give people a couple minutes, and then we'll get going. Couple minutes. Uno, dos, tres minutos. Hey, Spotify. 65 minutes. I suppose I could actually plan what replays I'm going to be casting here. All right, so who the hell is left? Because this is the hard part. The actual bracket I have on the left-hand side, which you can't see, is where we are now. Today we're going to be playing catch-up, but it was easy the first time because when there were no replays, I could just look at the... Sorry, there were no games already cast because this is part 2. I could just look at the bracket and start from bottom to top, top to bottom. And every game that had a score next to it, I needed to cast, right? Now it's like, wait, where did we end off last time? Where were we in the lower bracket? So it's getting a little shisty. Getting a little shisty over here. We'll figure it out. Today might be a little jank. We will figure it out. Gamers. Tretch being dead this early on is criminal? Yeah, he did done die. Okay, we got 18 viewers. We had 21, it went down to 18, so we're losing viewers. Which means I should probably start rambling so that people who show up actually do something. First game made me angry. Wide Unga Bunga deployment versus static defense. Okay. Somebody mentioned anyway. Never mind. Channel news first, then we'll get into this stream. Channel news. Today we're streaming part 2 of the Legendary Lords tournament. Gonna get a bunch of replays out there. I have 2 events running right now that are making scheduling difficult. We have the Faction War and the Legendary Lords tournament. The Faction War is at the top 4. They are ready to go next Sunday, a week from today, around this time of day, a week from today. So actually exactly a week from this moment, we will be casting and streaming the top 4 of the Faction War. So at some point this week, I am hoping Wednesday, we are going to cast all of the Faction War games up until the top 4, so you can figure out where we're at with that. So the Faction War will be complete within a week. All of the replays up to the top 4 are ready to go. I just need to find time to stream them. The Legendary Lords tournament is progressing nicely. I believe we're about 80% done with the tournament. So that'll be good. After that, I am hoping to cast... Well, I have a new player tournament with Big JP on the 9th. So Saturday we'll do new player. Sunday we'll do Faction War. I am hoping to host and cast a best of 3 try-hard tournament. No gimmick, just try-hard nonsense. It's been a long time since we've cast one of those. And I was going to do that today, and I was going to stream these games yesterday or the days before. But that leads me to the next piece of news. Where the hell have we been? I've streamed maybe 3 times in a month. I think that is accurate. I think it's been 4 weeks, and I think I've streamed 3 times. I don't want to dox myself too much, but I've been pretty open. I live in Minnesota, and it's been a fucking summer. It's been terrible. So like, not to go into too much garbage and whatever. If you've been on my Discord, you know a lot of these things. But earlier in the summer, if you remember, I was having a ton of panic and anxiety issues. I have panic disorder. It's pretty whatever. But yeah, I was having a lot of troubles with that. So then I had to like go to the hospital a couple times, get my shit back together, and go to therapy a bunch just to become a functioning human being. So that was nice. Got that together. I'm back at work consistently 40 hours a week, not taking any more PTO to sit at home and rock myself to sleep. That's great. We got back to streaming one time. Then I was never seen again. What happened that time? Fuck ton of wildfire smoke came down from Canada into Minnesota. I can't breathe. And unless you wanted a whole stream of me coughing into the microphone and forgetting what Lord's names are because I was all foggy headed and nauseous and terrible because our air quality was in the red. There's fine, which is green. There's moderate, which is yellow. There's unhealthy for sensitive groups, which is orange. There's unhealthy flat out for everybody. That's red. That time it was orange for like a whole week. And I am apparently one of the sensitive groups because as soon as the smoke came in, I felt like I was high, but not in the good way. I was just like, what is that person's name? You have worked with them for 5 years. You know their name. What is their name? Like, I just can't remember anything. So we took like a week off to get our shit together. Then we cast a new player tournament. Number 100. It slapped. That weekend, the air quality was yellow. Bam! This whole week has been red. Fucking red air quality. And I have been shot. I have been just hacking my lungs out. It's been terrible. My voice has been raspy as shit. My anxiety's high because it's like, motherfucker, you can't breathe. And I'm like, I know I can't breathe, but it's probably the fact that I can like move the air with my hand and see wisps of smoke moving around. And my body's like, that doesn't change the fact that you can't breathe, dog. And I'm like, I don't know, it sucks. So everything sucked. But today the air quality is back to yellow. As soon as I could breathe, as soon as I could stop coughing, I turned on this computer and I'm streaming. So why haven't we streamed? Because the summer's been shit, bro. It sucks so fucking bad. But anyway, whenever my air isn't cloudy as shit in my house, whenever my anxiety isn't off the chain, losing its goddamn mind, taking Molly and dancing the night away in my head, I'll stream. I'll stream whenever I possibly can. But it's been a bad summer, y'all. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. It's been hard. Whew. Tough year, yeah. So, there's all the channel news. We have the faction war coming up. It's going to finish within a week. There's going to be a stream between now and Sunday for it. I believe it'll be Wednesday. Legendary Lore Tournament is still cooking, and we have a lot of things we want to get done if the smoke calms down. I've also been very behind on daily videos. The one that came out this morning was the last one I have scheduled, so I either need to quickly record one tonight and get it edited, or there will be no video tomorrow. I don't know, but it's been rough. I haven't been in the mood to do content. If you look at a fucking air quality map of Minnesota for the last 2 weeks, all you'll see is fucking red. It's been terrible. Let's get on with it. That's enough stalling. That's enough news. People are here for video games. People are not here for my bullshit. I'm going to get chat back on the right screen so I can see it while I am casting the games. Boom, it's all of you. You're at your chat. Chat is on the chat. So back to the blocker. What are we doing? This is the Legendary Lords Tournament. We did host an open sign up for people. People could sign up as a Legendary Lord of their choice. Now, we didn't have 135 signups or however many Legendary Lords there are. We had 40. 42, though I don't know if all of them checked in. Yes, they did. We had 42 Legendary Lords. That does not mean every Legendary Lord in the game is in the tournament, but we did not allow any repeats of Legendary Lords, so pick your favorite and watch them go through. In part 1, we have lost Crone Hellebron, Kugath Plaguefather, Tretch Craventail, Wulfric the Wanderer, the Changeling, and Alariel the Radiant. In the 2 lives category, the people have been they haven't been defeated at all. They are not anywhere close to getting knocked out of this tournament. We have Zhao Ming, Karl Franz, Ungrim Ironfist, Rakarth, Astrogoth, King Lewin, Nakai the Wanderer, Orion, Azazel, Manfred von Karstein, Kairos Fateweaver, Cetra the Imperishable, Zarina Katerin, Queek Headtaker, Arbal the Undefeated, who is literally undefeated, and Tyrion. In the 1 life category, people have lost 1 game, but they are on their 2nd and final shot. Skulltaker, Scarbrand, Throt, The Sisters of Twilight, Malekith, Khalida, Marathi, Nakari? Yes, Nakari, Alethanar, Boris Todbringer, Scrag the Slaughterer, Krokgar, Mazdamundi, Archaon, Imrik, Drazoith, Red Duke, Heinrich Kemmler, Malagor Dark Omen, and Grease's Mother-Flippin' Goldtooth. The games we're going to cast today, I have 2.5 hours to cast, so I'll cast as many as I can in that time. I do not believe I'll get to every replay sent to me in that amount of time, but we're going to try our goddamn best. So, let's see. Mannfred versus Azazel. That does appear to be next. All right, we'll start off in the 2 lives category, so whoever loses this is not out of the tournament, but they will get knocked down to the 1-in-1 bracket. Hey, stop being a black screen. There we go. Adam Shadow versus Enta Kaiju. Book of Kaiju. Vampire Count Slaanesh. Now, only round 1 of this tournament was balanced, where I tried to put people's factions against other factions they could face in a fair format. After that, it is the will of the Dark Gods whether or not you end up against a faction you can deal with. And Slaanesh versus Vampire Counts can be pretty hard for Slaanesh. It doesn't have to be, but I would definitely say it's Vampire Counts favored. For Adam Shadow and Mannfred, we have Zombies, Skeleton Warriors, and Spearmen. And that is it for infantry, but he has a crap ton of infantry, so it looks like he wants as many bodies between his Mortis Engine and Slaanesh as possible. He does have a Mortis Engine and Mannfred to do most of the work, though we do have triple Blood Knight as well. You don't often see Blood Knights against Slaanesh, because Slaanesh is usually pretty good at isolating and killing off those things. Mannfred brought Spirit Leech and Gaze of Nagash, plus Zombie Summon Invocation of Nehek. He is very powerful right now, probably the most meta Vampire Counts Lord. For Slaanesh, we have a front line of spears, just 5 spears, including the Princes of Perfection. Then we have the Chaos Sorcerer of Shadows Mortis Engine effect, and he can slowly heal himself with casting spells, so that's nice with Melkot's Enfeebling Foe, lots of spells to cast. 2 Seekers of Slaanesh, 3 Marauder Horsemen, 2 more Seekers, so 4 total, and then we have Azazel up in the sky with Pavane. Looks like we are using Pavane to rampage in Mannfred. Now all of these replays from today will be after the patch. I know the patch was a while ago, but in case people are wondering, the last stream we had was before the patch. So Pavane was nerfed. Mannfred still got dragged in, but it was a lesser duration of him getting dragged in. Front lines are engaged. Blood Knights get a favorable fight with the Seekers, because the Seekers will tear the Blood Knights apart if they can catch them out in the open, but on top of a metric shit ton of zombies and skeletons, the Blood Knights will be just fine. Melkot's is out on the Blood Knights, who are also getting hit with the slow Mortis Engine effect. How charged up is that? Where are you? Yeah, it's already a third of the way charged up, so that's pretty good. Marauder Horsemen firing at Mannfred, who's doing his best to dodge. Now, the Marauder Horsemen are going to be very important in this matchup, but they also just have to prioritize their targets well. They need to all shoot at the same thing consistently until it dies. If they split up their damage, that just allows Mannfred and the Mortis Engine to take turns healing, and that's not really going to work. So I do want to see them all pick a target and stay on it until the very end of time. Speaking of picking a target and staying on it, these Blood Knights are after the Seekers, and while they are crumbling, Demonic Instability crumbling is much worse. So one of the Seekers is going to fade away entirely. It looks like the other one will too. So after the Slaanesh nerfs, Undead feeling pretty darn supreme as far as crumbling goes. Skirmish Cav still out and about shooting. It looks like they've moved on to the Mortis Engine, realizing Mannfred is kind of toying with them a bit and dodging in the air as much as he can. They are going to focus on the static target of the Mortis Engine and take out that draining effect. Mannfred dives back onto the Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh, who is still trying to heal desperately. Probably going to throw out Melkot's on cooldown to try and keep healing himself up, as Azazel's also getting good dueling in, but this is risky. Mannfred gets hit with an Enfeebling Foe, which lowers his stats down to pathetically low. Mannfred is not the Blood Dragon Lord. He is a way worse combatant than the Blood Dragon Lord is. He makes up for it in other ways. Mannfred's great, but fighting Azazel and then even, honestly, the Chaos Sorcerer, not going to go well for him, so he does back off after taking significant damage. Skirmish Cav still trying to fire in. A lot of these Marauder Horsemen are to safety. It's just the flag is in the zombies, but the actual unit is mostly away into safety. Manfred's final breath attack used on the Chaos Sorcerer. He's doing a really good job of focusing down. Ooh, he has another one, so he's only used 2 so far. But I've seen all of his breath attacks go towards this guy. He's just trying to burst down that Mortis Engine, so good job there. As it looks like the last of Slaanesh's Seekers are getting taken out. For the Blood Knights, we have 2 that are criminally low, but 1 that's still pretty healthy. And without any Seekers to counter him in the late game, it will get really annoying for Slaanesh. Their Skirmish Cav is going to have to run away and use some of their ammo on these Blood Knights, who are very tanky against missile fire. 110 armor, bronze shields, but also the Flag of Blood Keep. If they're chasing you and they haven't caught you yet, they get 20% more missile resistance while they run away. But a big loss for the Vampire Counts, they lose their Mortis Engine. If Manfred can take out the Chaos Sorcerer, it's not such a big deal, but if this game grinds on, he keeps casting out those cheap Shadows spells and healing himself back up, the Vampire Count's going to have a real problem with that Mortis Engine in the late game. Because if Azazel can peel Manfred, which we saw earlier when Manfred dove in, he had a very bad time, the rest of this army can just get Mortis Engine down by the Chaos Sorcerer of Shadows. This is actually getting really scary for the Vampire Counts right about now. Another Melkot's out on the Blood Knights, the healthy Blood Knights, so taking the damage off those guys, that could be scary. And the Seekers dive in with the last of their HP. Sweet Sorrow giving them a little bit more vigor, which they desperately need for their leadership, but they're getting really good damage on the Blood Knights. So this is the best death those Seekers could possibly hope for. They're still going to die. They're going to lose, for sure. But they got some damage on the important Blood Knights on their way out. They really are happy about that. So there the Seekers go. Slaanesh is running out of mobility. And something is getting cast here. It is the Narcissism Silence. Did not want Manfred diving in on these guys, also just trying to hold him in place so he can't dodge anymore. And he will take a lot of damage from those volleys now that he can't dodge. He only has 70 armor, no shields, very little missile resistance. Blood Knights fading away as the Skirmish Cav fall back, and Slaanesh is in a really good spot. Manfred's going to have to pull some serious shenanigans if he wants to turn this around, but Azazel gets back up into the sky as well. A much better duelist than Manfred is, even without Enfeebling Foe, though it looks like, yep, Enfeebling Foe is back in. Army losses is even hitting, as the balance of power moved aggressively in the favor of Slaanesh. And Azazel will take the win, pushing Manfred down to the lower bracket. Never forget Manfred sealed the fate of the old world. Yeah, Manfred sucks, but in this video game, he's pretty great. Very close game between these players, but Kaiju was able to defend his Mortis Engine caster and just keep healing him up. But there were a couple times where he was on the verge of breaking. The Blood Knights did have a difficult time. We can generally see why at the start I said I don't often see Blood Knights in this matchup. The Vampire Counts generally just don't want to take any mobile fight with Slaanesh ever. And the Blood Knights can have a hard time. Kaiju Spears did fine. His Seekers, honestly, considering how quickly some of them Demonic Instability crumbled, they all got decent value. And then his Skirmish Cav did fantastically, but they are usually the backbone of this matchup. Where's the Changeling? He didn't die, Nakari died? True. All right, Manfred goes to the lower bracket. Gonna slot him next to Drazilwith. And I put you guys on that blocker so I don't scroll past all these replays and you're like, I see that person's name. I know they live longer. All right. We're just going to roll into the next one because this is the next replay I have saved. And like I said, this is going to be kind of a jumble. My main concern is casting something out of order so then I screw up and spoil some things. So we are going to cast Manfred's next game because it happened to be sent to me. I think he played like 2 in a row on a day. We have Alethanar versus Manfred von Karstein. All right, Alethanar, piloted by Torreson, has a very thematic army, 4 Shadow Walkers, Alethanar himself, 2 Swordmasters of Hoeth, 2 Phoenix Guard, a Lore Master of Hoeth with Gems Burning Gaze and Earthblood, and then a Flamespire Phoenix. A very small kite/blob-ish army, mostly just elite infantry. The tournament was on Conquest, so I think he's just going to put his elite infantry on the point and let them hold, and then his Shadow Walkers are going to run around. And if the Vampire Counts want to stall this game, he's going to be taking the point the whole time. On the other side, for the Vampires, we have some Dire Wolves off in the Vanguard flanks, Blood Knights with lances, Skeleton Spears, and Zombies once again with a Grave Guard front line, but not great weapons, so their armor piercing is significantly lacking. We have a couple more Blood Knights, so still triple Blood Knight and still Manfred with Fate of Buna. Got rid of Gaze and Nagash, got rid of Spirit Leech, focusing instead on Fate of Buna for those elite units. Probably looking for the Fireborn, which are not here, so I'm guessing the Fate of Bunas will get used on Swordmasters. Maybe Phoenix Guard, but probably the Swordmasters. He wants to get rid of those, most likely. But a lot of good targets. Realizing there's a lot of mobility from the Vampire counts, the Shadow Walkers are trying to form up, but this is not a good enough defensive formation to protect them. You can see all the holes in it. So the Shadow Walkers are going to have a hard time staying online. I think they were hoping for Vargheists. But seeing there's no good targets, the Blood Knights, once again, like we said against those Skirmish Cav last time, like insane missile resistance as long as they're out of melee with the Bronze Shield, High Armor, and the Flag of Bloodkeep. The Shadow Walkers don't want to deal with them at all. They wanted to just pincushion super squishy Vargheists. In come the Blood Knights charging into Swordmasters. Swordmasters do not have charge defense, so you can see they actually do take a decent amount of damage from the Blood Knights. Not incredible, but a decent amount. The Vampires know their infantry is no match for the Swordmasters, though, so they are going to try and take a charge and then back off and heal and stuff. Meanwhile, Manfred's just recharging his breath attacks, thinking about another Fate of Buna. And you see the Shadow Walkers are pissing through their ammunition. They've already used almost half in some cases, but a giant volley. Shem's Burning Gaze does so much damage to Manfred. Even I'm shocked at how much damage that did to him. And the Shadow Walker is getting 2 or 3 full volleys onto Manfred while he was repositioning. Takes him down below half HP. That is a awful start for the Vampires. They're having a terrible time. Manfred's still trying to get away, dodging as best he can, but the Shadow Walkers are firing in intervals. They're not firing at the same time. So it's kind of like a machine gun. Some of the bullets are going to hit you, whereas when all the archers fire at the same time, it's really easy to dodge. But with consistent fire like this, he's just taking so much poke, and the Flamespire Phoenix is going to harass him off. And every time he gives orders to anyone that's not Manfred, he takes so much damage, and he's starting to crumble as the Flamespire Phoenix is after him. It's trying to apply fire damage to him so that he can't get as much healing, and it's also trying to get him to start crumbling so maybe he can't cast Invocation to Heck. As Alethanar is constantly shooting, the Shadow Walkers have moved on to other things, but Aleth is not giving up his constant sniping of Manfred. Flamespire Phoenix takes some decent damage, but Manfred is still getting very low. He is crumbling now, takes a big shot from the Flamespire Phoenix, and he is just down. Without his breath attacks, without his Fate of Buna, there is no hope of killing the Phoenix Guard and the Swordmasters of Hoeth. The archers are still firing at him. He's still dodging pretty good, but that consistent damage has just been too much, and Manfred does get taken out. Without him, there's no healing, there's no summons, there's no breath attacks, there's no Fate of Buna. There's just nothing left. As we see, Blood Knights are trying to cycle charge these High Elf infantry. The Swordmasters have taken significant damage, but the Phoenix Guard are still full HP. Shadow Walkers are all still full. That one's dying. The 3 of them are still full. Alethanar's fine. Flamespire Phoenix is fine. And it's not like the undead have a ton of bump and grind either. I mean, we're talking about skeletons and zombies down here. The Blood Knights are super wounded, and the Graveguard look like they've had a bad time fighting these elite High Elves. So there's not even a lot of Graveguard to fall back on. There's no Mortis Engine, there's no Corpse Cart, there's no hope. I don't want to be a doomer, but with the balance of power that bad 4 minutes into this game, I think it is GG. And that's GG. As I check chat for a second, game ended behind me. Phoenix Guard and Swordmasters in their brief time got the value they would have, you know. Not going to be crazy, but it was fine. Shadow Walkers did great. Flamespire Phoenix did fine. Freedom Shadow. Manfred did get 1,000 value in his brief time being alive, which is impressive, but the rest of his build just had a really hard time dealing with the hyper elite High Elves. GG. Quick one. What up, Catholic Alcoholic? How you doing? We are back. Manny the Fred speed runs into dead. Dun dun dun. That's a faction war game. Now this one is also a faction war game. Yes, that is faction war. So now this is Lewin and Astrogoth. That is the Legendary Lords. Got it. So next up is Lewin, Leoncur, and Astrogoth. Once again, back in the 2 lives part of the bracket, so the upper bracket. Whoever loses here just falls a bit. They're not out of the tournament just yet. We have ODM Otis versus Archangel. Otis, also known as Bird. You know them in our Discord. Change their name a lot, but it's Bird. We have all the King's horses and all the King's men here. A couple Knights of the Realm, but we have a Grail Knight and a Hippogriff Knight and Lewin, so 3 different very elite tools. Damsel of Life with Dwellers Below and Earthblood. Haven't seen Dwellers for a while. It has been nerfed since its heyday, but it is still very good against heavily armored elite infantry blobs. So I think in case of an Ironbreaker, Infernal Ironsworn blob or something, just wanted Dwellers Below for a little bit of insurance. Couple Peasant Bowmen with Pox arrows or regular, and that is about it. On the other side for the Chaos Dwarves, we have Bull Centaur Renders with great weapons, Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits, Goblin Laborers, and then we have some Ogakons, Wolf Boys, and more Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders, with of course Astrogoth leading the army, who is currently taking a rough fight with Lewin and some Hippogriff Knights, has cast Cascading Firecloak on himself, and now his Black Hammer of Hashut, so he's just trying to fight his way out of here. There is no damage here besides Astrogoth, though, as he throws out a Flamestorm, but these are all just Goblin Laborers. Ignore the spear icon above them. They have no anti-large and no way of helping. So Astrogoth's just trying to hold these guys down. Meanwhile, in the back, the real workhorse of the Chaos Dwarfs roster that is in this game are the Bull Centaur Renders with Great Weapons, trying to take favorable engagement with the Knights of the Realm. They have some Hobgoblins to help them out. We'll see how that goes. Astrogoth is doing fine versus the Royal Hippogriff Knights as long as his buffs are up, but once his buffs wear out, he is not the best melee combatant anymore, and he should probably back off. Bull Centaur Renders getting the fights they generally want, but now Grail Knights are here. Knights of the Realm, Bull Centaur Renders can eat those guys all day, but Grail Knights will do very well against those guys. We'll need some infantry support from the Chaos Dwarves to make sure that it's not a fair fight. As one of the Bull Centaur Renders is taken out by Lewin and the Knights of the Realm. The other one is still fighting, but now it's Lewin, Hippogriff Knights, and more Knights of the Realm versus them, so they're going to be quickly outnumbered, which often happens to the Bull Centaur Renders, I feel. They were overpowered on the launch of the Chaos Dwarves, and now they're just kind of okay. The problem is how expensive they are. They often end up in 2 or 3v1 fights because they reduce your roster so much. You see they just get taken out. Meanwhile, speaking of taken out, Damsel of Life does get thrown away a little bit. Bird overextending with that, and now Astrogoth got to kill her for free, so if this game goes longer, Bretonnia could be in deep shit without their constant late game healing they often rely on. Hippogriff Knights are very taxed. They've already received some healing and they're still very damaged. Grail Knights are still quite healthy though, and Lewin has his own healing and is quite healthy. For the Chaos Dwarves, the Bull Centaur Renders just didn't end up fighting on top of their own Hobgoblins enough. I saw 2 of them get routed off without any infantry support nearby. Now this one is in the situation all of them wanted to be in, but it is too late when it's just one Bull Centaur Render left fighting all these Knights of the Realm and Hippogriff Knights and whatnot. They're just going to get attritioned out, but this is the situation they wanted, where they have their own buddies beneath their feet and they can just cleave through heavily armored knights. Game's not over. I'm just very pessimistic about the Chaos Dwarves' position in the game, but like Astrogoth's still pretty healthy, and we saw when he has all of his buffs up and can cast Cascading Firecloak on himself, he beat the brakes off the Royal Hippogriff Knights. And, you know, Bretonnia lost their caster, which is pretty huge, for sure. I'd bet on Bretonnia, but it's not over. Bull Centaur Render's going to fight to the end. They will terror out soon from Lewin. There they go. So they almost took some Knights of the Realm with them. Astrogoth is in here fighting, but those healthy Grail Knights over there, busy cleaning up some Goblin Laborers. Hobgoblin Sneaky gets finished chasing off the damsel, so there's no hope of her coming back miraculously after they forget about her or something like that, dropped attack orders, what have you. She is gone for sure. But the balance power moves further against the Chaos Dwarves as more and more of these Bull Centaur Renders are pushed off the map. Astrogoth pops his buffs one final time, but it might be his last go round. Ooh, he has Flamestorm. Bretonnia might be overcommitting here. Does he see it? Yeah, he does. The Grail Knights are immediately pathing out. Okay, that's good. He was overgrouping for sure into that Flamestorm, but backing off is nice. Hobgoblins take a bunch of damage to these Knights of the Realm, but the important Grail Knights are mostly out of there, even though their flag doesn't look like it is. A lot of the models have moved on, so. Potential game-losing Flamestorm averted, as the Bretonnians keep their reaction speed quite quick. From this point on, they should be able to just rout off all of the Goblin Laborers or Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits. Lewin can take Astrogoth if he takes it slow. Cycle charges, uses his own healing, waits to get his buffs up before he charges Astrogoth. I think the only way Bretonnia loses from here is if they just get impatient and like hyper blob on Astrogoth when he has all of his buffs. Dun 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 dun, Mecha Man. I'm Mecha Man. Astrogoth looks so cool. If you saw my long rant video, you'll know how I feel about the Chaos Dwarfs, but man, they had a glow up. CA really gave them some much needed buffs and just made this faction so much more fun. Because it used to be the looks cool, but is either toxic or terrible faction. Like, either you just abuse a bunch of single entities and make the game really boring, or you use all the cool but terrible units. And CA nerfed a lot of their stronger single entities and buffed everything else that needed help. Buffed the Kadai Destroyer, buffed the Kadai Fireborn, buffed Hobgoblin, Sneaky Gits, buffed all their Chaos Dwarf units. Now they're just cool. Love Chaos Dwarfs. Anyway, as for the game, a lot of what we said is going to happen is happening. Like, Bird is now taking a charge. I imagine Astrogoth's going to pop his buffs, and then Lewin will probably back off once the Sword of Corona is done, but army losses will take hold before that and push him away anyway. What up, Trogdor? I think I saw one of your games coming up next, dude. Queek games when? I don't know, whenever my replays come up. YouTube is having a fit. That's not new, unfortunately. YouTube's been having a rough time. Archers didn't get too much value, neither did the peasants, but all of the knights did very well. Lewin did very well, and that's all you really need. Archangel, Astrogoth did fine. His Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits did fine, but the Goblin Laborers did not do very well. Goblin Wolf Riders did not do very well. And then the Bull Centaur Renders mixed. I'm guessing that is the one that got to fight on the Hobgoblins, and then these guys fought on their own and died. But it can be tough out there. So move Astrogoth down to the 1 life as we load up our next game. Okay, so now I'm not at the bottom of my list anymore. Now there's some faction war games down there, so I gotta be careful I don't delete a faction war game. Once again, we're not necessarily going in the order of any bracket. I'm mostly just trying to make sure I don't chronologically fuck up and cast something from the future and then come back to the past, and it doesn't make any sense because you're like, wait, I thought that person got eliminated. What the fuck? So we have Alethanar versus the Sisters of Twilight. Double kite. Trogdor the Flatulent, who just popped into chat. Hi, Trogdor versus Torreson, who we saw earlier versus Manfred. We do have 4 Shadow Warrior Kite, not Shadow Walkers anymore, versus Triple Waywatcher. Kite versus Kite on a small map, and Trogdor deploys entirely on the Vanguard, but not directly behind his opponent as... Okay, no one expects you to full Vanguard deploy, but if you're going to get full Vanguard deploy, it's going to be right behind you. Nobody expects to be full Vanguard deployed from the sides. That's got to be weird. Sisters of Twilight taking a lot of poke. Shem's Burning Gaze plus Alethanar's Moonbow hitting them right now. But where are we? So for Aleth, we have Aleth with just his Moonbow, Shem's Caster for the High Elves, and then 4 Shadow Warriors, a couple White Lions of Krace, and some Silver Helms with a Great Eagle. The other side for the Sisters of Twilight, Triple Waywatcher, including the Hawkeyes of Drakira. We have Sisters of Twilight themselves up in the sky, Dryads, Wild Riders, including the Wild Hunters of Kurnos, some Sisters of the Thorn, Branch Wraiths with Shield of Thorns, interestingly enough, and then Melkoths. Waywatchers, so far, I saw one of their volleys kind of go into the dirt, shooting at the Light Mage, so they are going to have to focus up and get some good shots. And they're firing at the Lions of Krace. They do need to counter these Shadow Warriors, though I suppose they were probably stalked, so the Waywatchers didn't see them. Gave attack orders on the White Lions, and then the Shadow Warriors popped up. Yeah. Sisters of Twilight using their multi-volley shot, try and get some damage on those Shadow Warriors, but already they've taken half their HP, and they have no healing from the Branch Wraith, so they're going to have to rely on... They didn't bring their personal heal either, actually, so there's no healing for the Sisters of Twilight. They just get the health they get. High Elves almost take the victory point before falling back, but they didn't quite, as another Shem's Gaze hits the Sisters. And again, with no No healing. They're down to 2,700 HP. That's really not that much, as the Way Watchers are lighting up White Lions. But you can see almost as soon as they fire, the Shadow Warriors are going to move up and try and counterfire. So the High Elves are trying to wait for the Wood Elves to fire and then sneak in and get some extra damage, which is pretty nice. One of the White Lions of Krace is already pushed out. Other two are still around, and they should handedly beat Dryads. So we'll see. But the Wood Elves do have the cavalry advantage overall. 4 Silver Helms should, in theory, lose to Wild Riders, Sisters of the Thorn, and the ROR Wild Hunters. And then if you have the mobility advantage, and at that point there's no White Lions of Krace, your Cav can just run down the Shadow Warriors, is probably the theory here. And look at that. Silver Helms with the Shield of Thorns double cast. Overcast from the Mage, and then the Sisters of the Thorn bound one. They're just Shield of Thorns murdering these Silver Helms. And now the Way Watchers are trying to take out other Silver Helms. These are the unshielded variant, not putting out the extra cash for those arrow resistances, and it looks like it can be very much felt, as those guys are already peeled. And we have a Cav collapse coming in onto these other Silver Helms, so really baiting those guys out. While the Dryads are dying to the White Lions of Krace, the Wood Elves are just murdering the cavalry fights. They're probably pretty happy with this. As you can see, the Silver Helms slowed by a smoke bomb, armor sundered by the Sisters of Twilight single shot, and then even the basic Wild Riders can get good damage onto them, even though the Wild Hunters of Kurnoss have the armor piercing. It's just nice to be included. But the Sisters of Twilight are getting criminally low. So low. Take a bunch more damage there, I think, from the Moon Bow off in the distance. They're down to 400 HP, and they're going to rout. Their superior speed might take them right off the map. Wild Riders trying to fight Silver Helms. Without that Shield of Thorns nonsense, it all of a sudden slowed down their damage quite a bit. But the High Elves are out of cavalry. So the High Elves are down to just their archers and a couple infantry units as the Wild Hunters of Kurnoss take a charge. They need to be careful, though, as I see 4 big red arrows starting onto them. I think we'll see Shadow Warrior volleys coming in soon, so they're going to try and dodge that. Looks like they dodged most of it. They're doing okay. Way Watchers still pin cushioning the White Lions of Krace. And the High Elves have officially taken the point. So if this game goes into a billion years, then yes, they will win off points. Sisters of Twilight at 0 leadership. Oh, they're on the ground. They routed while they're on the ground, so they're not flying. The Silver Helms are going straight for them, and I don't see any Wood Elves nearby to peel. Ah, yes, there are some coming back. The Way Watcher's going to try and get some distance, save the Sisters of Twilight, who they really just want to keep around for the extra leadership. Not like Wood Elves are particularly low on leadership, but nobody likes to lose their Lord nice and early. Shatter off those Silver Helms, and the Sisters are back, and the Sisters honestly just need to kind of vibe out in the trees. Like, I would honestly just put them in the corner. Like, you want to stay out of Alethanar and Shem's Burning Gaze range. And that Great Eagle is looking for a fight too. High Elves still on the point, still have 4 pretty darn healthy Shadow Warriors with half ammunition. Way Watchers a little worse for wear, but still pretty healthy overall with about half ammo for themselves. And then Sister of the Thorn full HP, Wild Riders mostly fine, mostly, as they fall back. Aleth is just firing away, though he's also running out of ammo. He only has 10 shots left. Great Eagle's looking for the Sisters. And I bet about now Trogdor's wishing he had Earthblood. Wild Hunters of Kurnoss need to be back here, so if the Great Eagle tries to land, they just surround it and insta-kill it, but it doesn't look like they will be, so Eagle's going to land. It's probably going to hit its charge attack, rout the Sisters, and take them off the map, so that's going to be the end of the Sisters of Twilight. Hey, look! It happened pretty much as I said, except they killed it, and they killed the Sisters instead of routing them, but yeah, so Wood Elves take a bit of a leadership hit. We have some Dryads that might leave because of it. And the Way Watchers are still using a lot of ammunition on those White Lions of Krace. I don't love that. I feel like the Way Watchers haven't been shooting the targets I would personally prefer. Not like terrible, right? I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world you could be doing, but I don't think it's great. As the Shem's Gaze hits the Wild Hunters of Kurnoss who are trying to move in. The High Elves are down to 1 Spearman to try and defend these archers, so this is probably the time for the Wood Elves to start moving in. And I want to see all the cavalry just ignore the single entities and either take a charge onto the already wounded White Lions of Krace and just rout them instantly, or go straight for the Shadow Warriors. So we'll see what happens here as the Wild Hunters of Kurnoss are moving in. And the tattered ass High Elves are trying to defend, but I don't know how much they can really do. Silver Helm's going to charge in. Great Eagle is closing in on the Way Watchers, who are going to stop and fire at the Spearmen. Shield's still facing the Way Watchers, so the Silver Shield's still coming into play, but it looks like Trogdor really wants to get rid of any melee infantry at all. Some sort of overcast hurt the Branch Wraith a lot. It's a Shield of Thorns overcast. Trying to just let the Shields of Thorns passive damage kill the Shadow Warriors and the Silver Helms that are trying to peel. Wild Riders sprinting through these Shadow Warriors, shutting them all down. Alethanar still firing for free. 5 ammunition left on him. Shem's caster still at half HP, so she's fine. But the Eagle and the Spearman trying to stop the Waywatchers. Spearmen get peeled by a Melkots I saw just kind of ending as we showed up, and the Waywatcher shooting at it. The Great Eagle is also getting peeled by the Waywatchers themselves, and here we go. The Cavalry overload is doing what we predicted. Once the High Elves were out of any form of blocker, the Cavalry just sprint through these Shadow Warriors and kill them all off, and that is looking like GG. It was getting a little scary there for a second, but the Shadow Warriors weren't able to put out enough damage to actually kill the Wild Riders on the advance, which I was a little scared of. I wouldn't say I, like, expected the Wild Riders to die, but I was a little bit like, 4 Shadow Warriors volley onto you while you're sprinting in, maybe you die? Silver Helms win against Wild Riders in clean 1v1. Yeah, he did have a double Shield of Thorns tech, which was pretty fucked up. Alethanar and the Shem's caster got good value for Torreson. His Shadow Warriors did all right. Silver Helms really struggling against those Wild Riders. And then the Great Eagle didn't get its value back, but I mean, sniped out the Sisters. Was annoying. Sisters didn't get much value themselves. Dryads did not either. Waywatchers all did fine. The real winners of this were Cavalry buffed up by Shield of Thorns, which is a spell I normally shit on, but it clearly did great work here. So shut up, human boy, as Alethanar joins the ranks of the dead. The Sisters of Twilight live on. Okay. Is this... Now this I need to figure out if it's a game from this tournament or from the faction war. Alright, 1 second. Yes, okay, this is from this tournament. Got it. Archaon versus Kroq-Gar. Definitely one of the first round upsets was Berserk on Archaon the Everchosen, falling down to the lower bracket. People were surprised. We'll see if Kroq-Gar can hold on, but Berserk is in contention for one of the best players in the world. Currently, my ranking personally goes Alfredino 1, Sipa 2, and then it's like Segos, Berserk in the conversation for third, you know, definitely third and fourth. But yeah, so one of the top 4 players in the world, Berserk versus Jepardu. Jepardu is no slouch, but I would not put him in the top 4. So it's pretty hard for anybody to go against Berserk. We'll see if the Lizardmen can do it. For Archaon's forces, we have true undivided energy as we have 5 Marauder Horsemen, 2 of which are of Tzeentch, 2 are of Khorne, and 1 is of Nurgle. Then we have some Chaos Warhounds with poison, triple gold chevroned Chaos Trolls, and then a regular Chaos Troll. Actually, wait. 2 triple gold chevroned Chaos Trolls, 1 armored Chaos Troll with no chevrons, some Forsaken, some Marauders, and Archie himself with Purple Sun as his only spell. Okay, alright, Berserk, I hype you up and you just make me look like a dumbass. That's fine. Okay, Archaon's taking Purple Sun. No, it's fine. You don't want to win. It's whatever. Skink Priest of Heavens on a Stegodon. After the Stegodon buffs, we have Chain Lightning and Harmonic Convergence for him. Kroq-Gar hitting Archaon with his Shem's Burning Gaze. I mean, Hand of the Gods. What happened to Shem's, by the way? I swear this wasn't on the patch notes, but maybe I'm just forgetting. But every one of their grandmothers taking Shem's Burning Gaze now. I don't know what the fuck. I'm not saying it's a bad spell. I'm wondering why it hasn't been taken until now if it's apparently such a good spell. Anyway, Skink cohorts, Saurus Warriors, Red-Crested Skinks, some Chameleon Skinks, Skink cohorts with Javelins, Cold One Riders with Spears, and a Bastildon Rev Crystal. Jepardu taking a very diverse Lizardman build. Not just Skink spam to win. We have Chameleon Skinks, we have Saurus. And you know me, I hate Saurus. I hate when they go balk balk. I hate when I surround them with my Empire swordsmen and they say this is fine, we can now just fight in every direction. I hate Soul Wars. Daisies are a month. This has be. Daisies are a month as part of the old lore. So Berserk's just trying to skirmish for now, and the lizards can see that, so they just walk up, take the point, and then back off, and they're like, listen, if you want to dick around, we'll just get points slowly. Shem's got cheaper, and People Rise is good. Okay, it did get cheaper, so it got a buff. Cool. But Human is up there as always. Dude, I wish I was a top player. I am out of practice for sure. I ended up being a mid-tier player for now. I'll get better. I'll play again soon once the smoke fucks off. We'll get some games in. We'll get back into shape. But for now, definitely out of shape. Most def. So, the skirmish continues. Berserk is just trying to get what little damage he can out before he has to commit to a melee. He does have 5 skirmish cavalry, so of course he wants the skirmish phase to last a little bit. We have some Chaos Warhounds isolating Cold One Spear Riders, which this does mean Berserk's skirmish cavalry can turn around and get a lot of good damage onto them, while the dogs just harass. Cold One Spear Riders are terrible at killing infantry, and the same kind of applies to dogs. Their stats are actually horrible. They rely mostly on their significant bonus versus large and high armor piercing values, which doesn't often help you against infantry or dogs. As you can see, their damage on the dogs is pretty darn low. And Berserk's just using the dogs to keep them in place and poison them and harass them while the skirmish cav get out all the actual damage. So this is a pretty good pick for Berserk. He's gonna have a dog route, sure, but he's killing an 1,000 gold heavy cav with a couple 500 gold dogs. There go those guys, and the healthy dog can probably just chase them off the map. But Jeopardy brought over his other Cold One Spear Rider and his big Stegodon and some Chameleon Skinks. This isn't such a free engagement for Berserk anymore. You can see his skirmish cav are taking a lot of damage. And Archaon is in, with Kroq-Gar nowhere near this fight. The Skink is heavily outclassed. Like, Archaon is gonna whoop his ass. Warp Flame even lowering his armor and making him weak to fire damage. So that's just a 10% damage buff for Archaon right now. Damn. Rev Crystal Shot coming out, but he is on fire, so he only gets half that healing. And Kroq-Gar is still not coming to this fight, opting instead to help fight the Chaos Trolls and provide his terror over there and get rid of the Chaos Trolls super fast. But you'd have to think that he would be very valuable in this fight against Archaon. Engine of the Gods shot comes out, burning alignment or whatever, but Archaon and his forces mostly dodge it because the Forsaken are rather swifty little lads. Anyway, Archaon backs off of the fight with the Stegodon. He has some Chaos Trolls coming over to support, skirmish cav firing in, but maybe Kroq-Gar was getting a little closer than he'd like. Hand of the Gods blocked by some of those skirmishers, and that should be his 2nd out of 2 casts. Yeah, he has no more Hand of the Gods casts. For the Warriors of Chaos, they had some infantry break through briefly as Archaon throws a Purple Sun onto Chameleon Skinks and then dodges with his own infantry to get away from it. Skirmish cav should be able to clean those guys up, so Skirmish Skinks picked off, and this fight got very spread out, which Archaon definitely wanted with his superior skirmish cavalry and his regenerating monstrous infantry. Triple Gold Chevron Chaos Trolls cannot fight a T-Rex and 2 other dinosaurs. They are going to try and run away. Their gold chevrons gives them a little bit more leadership, but not immune to psychology, as they are going to terror out regardless. Chameleon Skinks kiting around Forsaken, but rallying dogs burst upon them, getting some decent damage out, but also providing that crucial slow, allowing the Forsaken to maybe catch up to these Chameleon Skinks who have been harassing them for so long. Chameleon Skinks getting torn apart. The bounce power is turning in the favor of Chaos just slightly. Archaon is trying to fight against Saurus Warriors. I imagine we'll see a Purple Sun over there pretty soon to take out that clump of Saurus and Skinks, but I wonder if it's off cooldown for Archaon yet. This game's gone on long enough, and I've only seen one Purple Sun that he definitely has it back off cooldown. I just don't know if he has the Winds of Magic for it. Because I think the other one might have been Overcast, in which case he's pretty Code of Sotek fighting against different Chaos Trolls. The Armored Trolls taking a break, letting the Gold Chevron Trolls take that fight instead. Sora still fighting against these Marauders and Forsaken. That's going okay. Meanwhile, the Dinosaur Hero Hammer moving in. Somehow the Skink Priest got isolated again, though Skirmish Cav ticking down his health a lot. Rev Crystal still has plenty of charges to keep healing him up, but it is annoying. There's the Purple Sun we were predicting, as again, Berserk dodges away with his own infantry, leaving the Purple Sun to do significant damage to Saurus, and it is actually chewing them up, so I wonder if he is overcasting it. I think he has to be. Extended effect duration. It doesn't actually do more damage. Wow, it's just doing that much damage base. What the hell? All right, go Purple Sun, go. I can't be the best while being attacked by OP Globadiers. Yeah, I am getting attacked by Globadiers IRL. It's true. Another burning alignment out. This one, Berserk dodges it yet again, takes a little bit of poke damage, but still does dodge it, and the Skink Priest is getting criminally low on HP. Archaon is here to finish the job, gets a good charge attack in. It looks like we'll get one final Chain Lightning cast that the Marauder Horseman and Nurgle are going to dodge. Berserk has been on top of his dodging, but the caster and one of the two giant dinosaurs for the Lizardmen is going down. We also have a Rev Crystal, but I wouldn't say he's a giant dinosaur. He's more of a mid-sized dinosaur. Lizards are attritioning out pretty bad. We have some Skinks off in Nowheresville chasing Forsaken because, like I said, the fight got spread out. But everywhere else, the Lizardman health bars are very low. Archaon looks like he's going to take a fight with the Rev Crystal next, and then Krokgar last. No, he's going for Krokgar now. No, he's going for Rev Crystal. No, he's going for Krokgar. Now he's going for the Rev Crystal. There we go. He's in. He's going to try and get some damage out. Krokgar getting one final heal from the Rev Crystal. But I don't think he can kill all of these trolls and these Forsaken and the Skirmish Cav and Archaon. It's just a lot for Krokgar to do alone. Looks like he's going to go for Archaon. One desperate last attempt to clutch this game out. As if he kills Archaon, maybe he can tear up the trolls. Maybe he can get rid of everything else. But Archaon's faster. He's just going to run away. I don't expect Berserk to leave himself in a bad fight for that long. As he's casting another Purple Sun onto a remnant of Skinks. Oh, these poor last desperate Skinks, as Berserk's own Forsaken are caught up in the vortex, but he says, worth. Fuck you, Skinks. Purple Sun takes him down. Rev Crystal's routing, leaving just Krokgar and a couple cohort of Zotek models, but not that many. Purple Sun's actually good these days. Yeah, it looks like. All right. Archaon, 2,000 value. Very nice stuff from him. Forsaken did okay, but this really wasn't their match. Like, they didn't have a lot of infantry to truly blend through. They just kind of ran around. Skirmish Cav did fine. Dogs did fine. And the triple gold chevron trolls were triple gold chevron trolls. Archaon and his Skink Priest did well. Code of Zotek did well. Jav Skinks did well. And his Skinks did fine, but the Cold and Spear Riders didn't get a good engagement. There was no heavy cav for them to fight, so they ended up just getting kited and isolated and stuff. And that was pretty rip for Jepadu. Over to the Photoshop, as I catch my breath, Crocky G joining the ranks of the Glorious Dead. Boy is cooked. Boy is done. All right, my little smoke lungs need a breather. Give me a second. Oh, God. So much smoke. Why? Okay. This is a game that's from this. Skarbrand versus Drazoeth? Yes. That is not the faction war. Okay. I have our next game selected. I just need a second. I'm gonna hang out with chat. Hi, chat. I'm almost out of water. I suppose I also could be sitting. I don't have to be at my standing desk. But we are at the standing desk. What up, Fisho? How you doing? All right, no more excuses. Let's boot up. This is in the 1 life bracket. So whoever loses this is out of the tournament. We have Skarbrand, piloted by Pegaz, versus Senfishy on Drazoeth. Front line is all Marauders. Some have dual weapons, some don't. A couple Skull Crushers and Blood Beasts of Khorne on the far flanks. We have a Cultist with his summon and Sword of Anti-Heroes. And then Skarbrand in the middle with his self-rampage for damage and his AoE enemy rampage for capturing people. The other side for the Chaos Dwarves, it is all boys all day. No mobility here whatsoever. We have an Infernal Ironsworn and Blazing Beard front line, backed up by Blunderbusses. Hobgoblin Mutinous gets around the sides, 2 Infernal Guard Fireglaves, and Foot Drazoeth with Ash Storm as his only spell. Blunderbusses and Blasting Charges going absolutely nuts, killing all the Marauders very, very quickly. Blunderbusses, one more volley from you. Looks super badass. Bum, 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 bum. Not that much damage versus infantry, but still looks cool. Looks cool as hell. Khorne's front line is in shambles already. Ash Storm trying to slow down the Blood Beasts of Khorne, and of course giving them a little bit of weakness to fire damage doesn't hurt. What might hurt is if any of these Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses get onto Skarbrand. The front line of Marauders are already routing from the blasting charges. Khorne might get his revenge though. Getting into that back line with the Skull Crushers and the Blood Beasts could get a lot of damage going. Skull Crushers trying to flank the Infernal Guard that are getting good poke onto Skarbrand, who's currently rampaging Drazoeth into a bad situation. But Wrathful Reaper, his own rampage distracts him from Drazoeth. He instead fights some random Infernal Ironsworn. Infernal Guard getting run down by the Skull Crushers. They are getting good damage out, which is nice to see. Blunderbusses also shut down, but Skarbrand is getting worked. Even without the Blunderbusses shooting him, which now some are, and you can see his HP is going to go even lower much, much quicker. But, I don't know. Some people, and they're probably right, some people tell me Skarbrand is secretly good. I love Skarbrand. I think he's cool, but I have always struggled to win with him. I think he's too expensive and too squishy. But there are better Khorne players than me who like him, so... I'm not saying he's objectively bad, I'm just saying I struggle with him. Skarbrand does shut down some Blunderbusses. He's criminally low, and these Marauders are not the sauce for getting through this Chaos Dwarf front line, so we are relying heavily on the Blood Beasts and the Skull Crushers to get a lot of this damage out, which, to be fair, they kind of are. We have a lot of Terror routing Hobgoblins. Infernal Guard and Fireglaves are both routing, so Khorne is running down the units they need to run down. They are killing the units they need to be killing, and with kills, they could get a Sword of Khorne in the late game to take out some of these Infernal Ironsworn or something. Now, Sword of Khorne doesn't have 100% armor-piercing values, but it has decent ones. Skarbrand's up to 1.1k weapon strength, but again, his self-rampage distracts him from Drazoeth, who is hitting him in the back, and he can't target him intentionally, so he is just forced to fight whatever Skarbrand happens to be fighting, which looks like Infernal Ironsworn. Bloodletter Summon is out to try and kill off the Blunderbusses. Hobgoblin Mutinous gets, Sneaky Gets are here to sacrifice their lives for the Blunderbusses. We'll see if it's enough as Skarbrand continues to fight and continues to die. Down to 1300 HP, he starts the path out of these Infernal Ironsworn, which, dude, he was getting no damage onto those Infernal Ironsworn. Blunderbusses did manage to escape briefly, but Marauders of Khorne are here to shut them down. Maybe with guard mode, they get a little bit of a shot off onto Skarbrand. They do enough to take him down to 200 HP, and after his charge wears off, he should just Demonic Instability crumble away. Skull Crushers and Blood Beasts still running down what they can, but those Infernal Ironsworn, Skarbrand doing no damage to them while standing in the middle of them is super brutal. They have high melee defense, they have high tanky stats, and they have fire resistance, making them all very difficult for Skarbrand to deal with. Demonic Instability takes him. That Bloodletter Summon is fake, so if you look around the map, a lot of the Khorne units are starting to get white flags above their heads, and that makes a lot of sense. There go the Bloodletters. The Cultist's even thinking about running from Drazoeth as Drazoeth just kicks his ass. Cultist is on a horse, so could run away, but where's he gonna run to, right? Oh, I don't want to fight Drazoeth, I'll fight Infernal Ironsworn, I guess. So, kind of a lose-lose. They just need someone to take out these Infernal Ironsworn. But they don't have it in their build. They don't have that kind of armor piercing. Exalted Bloodletters, like, could do it, but those aren't here, right? Wish you a well and speedy recovery. My recovery will be very swift as soon as Canada stops sending their smoke down south. Fuck off, Canada smoke. He has 15% missile resistance and 20% physical resistance. I mean, cool, but this man still gets shredded by basic archers. My High Elf versus Khorne build for a long time before they got the DLCs was just like 4 Lothern Seaguard, 4 archers, and Skarbrand couldn't fight them all, so he just gets shot. And then Valkia joined the game. Boo, Valkia. Fuck you, Valkia. No, not really. Valkia's fine. I'm just memeing. Marauders didn't get much done. Skullcrushers and the Blood Beast did fine. And like Skullcrushers don't often do fine, so that's pretty solid. But Skarbrand was a bit of a liability for the Khorne build. For Drazoith and the boys. Hobgoblins getting their value back again. Infernal Ironsworn all doing very well again. Blunderbusses and the Infernal Guard more mixed, as some of them were shut down before they got good volleys off, and the other ones got good volleys off. GG. Skarbrand's out, baby. And I think if I remember correctly, Kugath's also out. So the greater demons not doing great. We still have Nakari and we still have Kairos. And Kairos is even in the upper bracket, so Kairos is vibing. But the other greater demons are riding the struggle bus. Okay, there's Skarbrand versus Drazoith. Next up, this is Faction War. This is not. We have Orion versus Nakai. This is an upper bracket fight. You can see they're both in the 2 live section. So neither of them has been defeated thus far. One will be today. Tequila Sunset on Nakai the Wanderer versus Ash 07 on Orion with double Forest Dragon. Who is Throt playing? I don't know. He's playing someone eventually. Haven't looked at the bracket in a hot second. All right, for the Lizard Men, as we have a full rush here, I slow it down a little bit. We have Chameleon Skinks, Chameleon Stalkers, Cold One Riders, and Cold One Spear Riders, plus some Feral Cold Ones, so 2 of every kind of Cold One Cavalry. And then we have a Saurus Scar Veteran on his Cold One mount with just Colossal Strike, Skink Priest of Heavens with Chain Lightning, and then Nakai the Wanderer with his AoE Roar that rampages his own units, but gives them physical resistance and melee attack. For Orion, we have a full rush of Dryads in the Vanguard, Great Stag Knights and Wild Hunters of Kurnos charging forward, Orion himself, Spellslinger of Life with just Regrowth, and double Forest Dragon. Vladdy? I don't know if Vlad's even in this tournament. I'd have to check the thing. Vlad is not in the tournament unless I just missed him, but no, I don't think anybody's playing Vlad. All right, Cavalry are in. Great Stag Knights charge down these Chameleon Skinks, get a lot of damage out. Dryads are here now, just to harass the Skinks. It'll be a bit of a wet noodle contest. I mean, the Dryads will eventually win, but it's not going to be, like, fantastic. As the Forest Dragons breath attack down the sides. And, oof. Great Stag Knights getting some decent work done onto these Cold One Riders that are buffed up by Primal Roar, but with a whole bunch of heroes involved, too. The Great Stag Knights are taking a lot of damage. Orion is sprinting over to participate in this fight. He's like, all the expensive Lizardmen shit is over here. I'm going to go fight something. Gimme, gimme. And he immediately terror routes off the Cold One Riders, leaving Nakai and the Saurus Scar Veteran just fighting Orion and some Great Stag Knights almost all alone. Stag Knights look like they're still trying to chase the Cold One Riders, but not able to fully rout them just yet. That tenacious Lizardman leadership proving to be a problem. More Great Stag Knight charges as the Forest Dragons just kind of lumber around, but man, half HP off that Skink cohort on the charge. Very nice charge in here from Ash. Forest Dragon lands on Nakai as Orion pieces out. Gonna go chase down the Saurus Scar Veteran instead. Nakai looks like he wanted to go after Orion, but instead turns and just takes the fight with the Forest Dragon, I guess. He's gonna slap that thing, but Orion comes back. Now Nakai's in a nasty 2v1, but it becomes a 3v3 as both support casters get involved and the Saurus Scar Veteran. Everybody piles in. The only single entity on the map not involved is the Forest Dragon, which is coming over. The second Forest Dragon is thinking about getting involved in this fight. Nakai's taking a lot of damage. The Lizardmen didn't take a Rev Crystal. They have no form of healing as Balance Power starting to favor the Wood Elves. Nakai wanders off, but a floating elf lady is going to chase him a little bit. She might regret that, however. She is going to get overextended, so doesn't want that fight anymore. Coldwind Riders and Feral Coldwinds here to support, surrounding these dragons. The Sora Scar veterans kind of stuck in the middle of a bunch of nonsense. And Nakai not going to charge back in just yet, as the Wild Hunters of Kurnoss also pile in. What is going on? Everybody on the map is descending onto this single nonsense fight. And only one of these two players has a blob punishment spell. It is the Lizardman with Chain Lightning, so I wonder if he throws a Chain Lightning onto the Wild Hunters of Kurnoss or something. But there's a lot of single entities, so his Chain Lightning has more odds to go back into his own forces and deal significant damage to them. But one of the Forest Dragons is surrounded. And there's a reason that you don't often see Forest Dragons. They are not the best combatants out of the dragon types. So they do feel a little stuck. Wild Hunters of Kurnoss having to bail out. One of the Forest Dragons bails out. All of the Wood Elves leaving, but Orion and the second Forest Dragon are not as able to leave, as Nakai is dancing his way onto the other Forest Dragon. Now he gets a little distracted, but still some Coldwind Riders are keeping it on the ground. The Forest Dragon's taking a lot of damage as it goes, and we just saw an overcasted regrowth onto this dragon, so we know the other one doesn't have a regrowth for a while. Big breath attack onto a meaty blob of skink cohorts and Coldwind Riders. So really good breath attack there, as one of the Forest Dragons is going to rout, but it has plenty of HP. It will get up in the sky. It will come back as the Wild Hunters of Kurnoss peel for it, jumping in onto Nakai, just holding him in place as he lurks around. And Orion is here to do the actual damage. So Orion and Nakai are going to duel again. In the distance, a lot of Lizardmen bodies closing in on this area. The point is the Lizardmen's, for now. Another breath attack in from the Forest Dragons. This one unfortunately targets some skinks near the back of the formation, so it didn't do as much damage as the other breath attack we saw. But the Forest Dragon again charges in onto Nakai with Orion as well. This is a nasty 2v1. You can see Nakai again paths his way out. As soon as it becomes a disfavorable fight, numbers-wise, he is out of there. Another regrowth comes in. It is overcast, damaging the caster, but getting a big heal onto the Forest Dragon. So soon, the three big single entities of the Wood Elves will be all healed up yet again. The Lizardmen just have to go through healing after healing after healing after healing. Chameleon Skinks are back and free firing on the sides, getting good damage onto the Forest Dragon. Only 60 armor, no shield, obviously. We have physical resistance and missile resistance, but damage is damage at this point, as Chameleon Stalkers are also chasing the Forest Dragon, and now Feral Coldwinds are back. For the Wood Elves, they have largely been down to their single entities for quite a while. We can see the Wild Hunters of Kurnoss are still running around, but they haven't gotten a regrowth, obviously, and they are just going to run into a Chain Lightning that Tequila Sunset put down predictively. It only catches a few models, gets a little bit of damage, and then it unfortunately starts to veer into his Coldwind Spear Rider, so he was trying to use it predictively so he didn't have to hurt his own units. It unfortunately, with bad RNG, does hurt his own units, regardless of what he wanted. But the Wild Hunters of Kurnoss get murdered in their final charge, leaving just the Wood Elf single entities here. They have gotten lots of regrowths. Wild Hunters of Kurnoss did not, so now these Forest Dragons have to provide the value the ROR Cavalry might have been able to had it got the healing support. You boys have a lot to prove, a lot of burden on your shoulders. Can you do it? As Orion continues to try and catch Nakai, the Forest Dragon instead takes his wrath. And this Sora Scar veteran with his Colossal Strike and anti-large dueling stats is actually doing really good in the Forest Dragon. Another breath attack lines up. This time it should hit dead center on that clump. There we go. Decent damage, not amazing, versus the Chameleon Stalkers and the Skink cohorts. Sora Scar veteran is chasing the Forest Dragon. I have no idea how that thing got into the sky when he was touching its butt the entire time, but it did. The other Forest Dragon lands on the Sora Scar veteran, and Orion charges in as well. Both of them hitting their charge attacks. Big damage on the Sora Scar veteran. He went from like half HP to nearly dead. Ooh, a big turn of events against the Lizardmen, and he is just dead. They don't miss. They didn't miss a single shot on him as the Forest Dragon Orion just take him out back and put him down. That boy is a leather belt. Believe you me. Orion is once again after Nakai. Primal Roar is trying to rampage his folks, but also the Skink has the AoE stop rampage. So Primal Roar plus stop rampage equals no rampage, but all the physical resistance and melee attack you could ever need. Forest Dragon is routing again. Another Forest Dragon is back again. I feel like they've routed and came back a lot of times as we get another regrowth onto the Forest Dragons. Lots of healing for them as Orion again tries to catch Nakai, but that cold-blooded is going to push him away, give him lots of leadership, and Orion's probably got his Cloak of Isha up soon. He's going to start getting that damage resistance and constant healing. There we go. So he's going to hover around 1800 HP, and then when he gets above it, it'll turn off, and then when he gets below it, it'll turn back on again. It's the Forest Dragon's getting a normal regrowth. It's not an overcast, as Ash is keeping his caster just super far away from the fight. Doesn't want to deal with this. Chameleon Skinks running out of ammunition. They'll soon just become bodies on the pyre. We are over halfway on the tickets. And really concerning is if Orion... Actually, yeah, the Wood Elves are kind of fucked on capture weight. I guess they have a half health Dryad off in the distance, but Forest Dragons are flying creatures. They literally can't contribute to capturing. Orion is low on HP, and his capture weight isn't that high to begin with. So he's at 3. And then I guess you have a Spell Singer, but yeah. Nakai gets dove on by the Forest Dragon again. Big damage onto Nakai. Maybe they can route the Forest Dragon off with all these Skinks. Yes, and it shatters, so it takes that regrowth health with it. So the one that isn't shattered is still negative on leadership, even that far away from the fight. He might rally, but it's looking unlikely. The Spellsinger's trying to run down Nakai, but Nakai is faster, and we have Coldwind Riders peeling here. So Nakai should be fine. He should be able to come back. And that leadership is going to be critical, as it's a late game fight with Orion, who causes terror against a bunch of wounded Skinks. If Nakai dies and gives your Lord his dead debuff, that's huge. And a big chain lightning, as the Dryads do not go for the capture point. The Dryads are trying to run over and help Orion, but that does prove to be their downfall as they run into range of that chain lightning, which just obliterates them, as we saw Purple Sun in an earlier game for Berserk. Doing great work. Chain lightning just takes out an entire Dryad. So now the Wood Elves have almost no capture weight that exists on the map. And Nakai is opting back into the fight, just providing his terror to instantly route the Spellsinger of Life, who is surrounded by Coldwind Riders who will not route, and these Chameleon Stalkers that have a couple chevrons giving him extra HP. Nakai takes a bunch of damage from something. He was at 400 HP, I thought. He's now down to 200 in that. I wonder if Orion got a spear out onto him. The Spellsinger does route, takes another big shot from Nakai. He shatters her. It's officially down to just Orion, because that Forest Dragon goes off the map. The Dryads are still routing, and it's just Orion. We have 120 seconds, 2 minutes left. If the Lizardmen are still alive in 2 minutes, they win. Orion has to kill us all in 2 minutes, because he can't capture that. There's too many Skinks. Like, he just can't do it. He's not going to be able to grind through all these guys. He is trying to throw on guard mode and just chuck his spear. You can see him occasionally trying to throw it. He has a big red arrow on Nakai, but he keeps getting distracted as the Skinks stop him from shooting. I heard the zoom. I saw Nakai's HP go down. He's down to 140. He's not routing just yet. 90 seconds left for the Wood Elves to get army losses. We're starting to see some terror routes come in. Even though Nakai is still alive, we're getting a couple terror routes here and there. Nakai routes, he dies. Orion does spear him from the blob. Let's see how many terror routes we get. Coldwind Riders terror routing. Skinks terror routed, but they are back. Skinks are naturally routing. Skinks are terror routing. Skinks are shattering. Other Skinks are terror routing. Everybody's terror routing. This is exactly what we were worried about when Nakai dies. Chameleon Skinks terror routing, but they have positive leadership. They will come back. Chameleon Stalkers have not terror routed for a while. The Skink Priest hasn't terror routed yet either, and these Chameleon Skinks plus the Chameleon Stalkers holding on for now. 50 seconds left. Orion is still healing. He pretty much hasn't left this 1800 HP threshold for a long time. Terror Route comes out for the Skink Priest. Terror Route comes out for the Chameleon Skinks. The Chameleon Stalkers are the only thing left on the map for the Lizardmen. They cannot Terror Route. I mean, they can. They definitely can. But if they do, the Lizardmen lose this game. Those Chameleon Stalkers need to hold, and they do. Their leadership rally is way up. They are so far away from Terror Routing, as these Chameleon Skinks also are apparently immune to terror. The other Skinks are coming back, and that means they are now immune to terror for the next 30 or 60 seconds, which is plenty of time, as we're down to 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. There's no hope for you to tear out all these guys. 4, 3, 2, 1. It was close. Everybody except for one Chameleon Stalker was routing at one point, but one is all it takes. And Orion can't capture that point. He can't kill all those people. And that is a GG. 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 Sora Scar Veteran gained 2,200 value, while Nakai only got 1,100. That's the first time I've ever seen him outperform his Lord. Chameleon Stalkers, one didn't do that great, one did amazing. Chameleon Skinks both did very, very well. And Coldwind, all the Coldwind Cavalry was mixed. Some of them did great, some did nothing. On the other side, for Ash and the Forest Dragons, Orion was 2,600 value. Forest Dragon 1, 700. Forest Dragon 2 with 1,600 value. His cavalry all got pretty decent value out. The Dryads largely did not, but they're Dryads. What do you want from them? Oh boy, that was a game. That was intense. So that puts Orion into the lower bracket. Still in it. Still in it. All right, let's keep scrolling and looking for those games that are not a part of the faction war. That is faction war. That is not. Oh yeah, Ash pretty much played games back to back. The next replay that was submitted to me was Orion again, and I was like, what the shid? All right. So, Orion got knocked down to the 1 life bracket. Khalida has been down here. So Khalida's like, welcome to the lower bracket, you punk. You punk bitch. You want to fight me with double casket of souls? I don't know what's happening here. This is crazy. Ian, what is this tournament about? It's a bunch of different legendary lords people picked. It's not every legendary lord in the game because we only got 42 signups, but that is still like a third of all the legendary lords in the game. People cannot pick the same legendary lord, so yeah, you just play a tournament with the lord you picked. The rest of your army can change game to game, but you have to take the lord you selected. So like Orion's army obviously has to have Orion in it, and Khalida's army has to have Khalida in it. What should I play today in Tequila's single faction tournament? Empire. All right, this is a lower bracket game. Both these players on their final life, as Khalida's team has 3 skeleton warriors, 4 skeleton warriors, 4 skeleton spearmen, so a lot of skelly chaff, 2 Necropolis Knights, not the halberd variant, then some Nekara and skeleton horsemen. We have the Chosen Gods of Shoppy Great Bows and 2 Casket of Souls, a light caster with Shem's Burning Gaze, and Khalida with her Venom Staff. This is a lot of missiles. On the other side, we have Orion, King of the Wild Hunt. Then we have Wild Riders, Glade Riders of Spears, a bunch of Dryads, triple Treekin, quadruple Treekin, and 2 Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts, with a Branch Wraith who has Earthblood. And Orion is currently getting messed up by missile spells. I believe the Shem's Gaze and Khalida's Venom Staff are doing most of the work here. Chosen of the Gods ripping apart Wild Riders as the Casket of Souls are both trying to shoot the same Glade Guard. Get rid of those fire damage, armor-piercing archers. Chosen of the Gods now firing at Orion as another Venom Staff hits him in the face, and before even joining the fight, Orion is down to about half HP. Dryads have hit the front line once again, as usual. They will beat the skeletons, but not really fast enough for us to care too much, as another Shems hits Orion. He's getting close to his Cloak of Isha healing threshold, and again, he has not entered the fight yet. Wood Elves lose one of their archers to the double Casket of Souls. The other Casket of Souls needs to switch to the other archer. Glade Rider is going to fight Nekara Horsemen. I think Nekara Horsemen usually win that, but they will especially win that with Necropolis Knights coming up to assist them. Treekin have joined the front line, and Khalida gets punted by Orion. Treekin, tanky, don't do that much damage. They really won't contribute that much to helping get through the skeleton front line. And another Venom Staff hits Orion in the back. He's going to start intermittently healing with his Cloak of Isha. Casket of Souls now moving to start punishing any blobs of Dryads on top of Treekin. Glade Riders are getting peeled by Necropolis Knights, but the Necropolis Knights are significantly slower and more expensive, so the longer the Glade Riders distract them, the better it is for the Wood Elves. Casket of Souls gets decent damage out, and that's fine. I see the missile thing getting cast, so it looks like the Lich Priest is turning to fire at Orion. Hits him in the back, huge damage onto him, because I suppose it is bypassing his physical resistance. Cloak of Isha's 20% damage resistance is here. Khalida uses another Venom Staff, another 600 damage off, and that's with his damage resistance already on. Orion is down to 400 HP, but he's unbreakable and he is healing, so the Tomb Kings need something to finish this. If they're going to put this much effort into sniping Orion, they need to somehow finish him off, get rid of him forever. A Casket of Souls tries shooting at him. That's not going to work. And I am low-key getting a little scared for the Tomb Kings. They're up on damage value. They're up on balance power, for sure. But they put so much energy into Orion. Shems hits him too. What's the cooldown on that spell? Is it like 1 second? As Orion is crazy low. But my point is if Orion doesn't die, he can just heal, and then the rest of the Wood Elf army is mostly untouched from all this bullshit. But Khalida gets onto Orion. He is going to run for the hills. The next Shems will kill him unless he can get some significant healing before that happens. But this guy's had a cooldown of like 1 second. So I think that next Shems is coming soon. He needs to get beneath like a crest of a hill or something. He's got to get away as Khalida and the Shems caster are both just waiting to get Orion with their next cooldowns. Venom Staff has no more uses, but here comes the Shems. Does it kill him? 500 HP. No, he's down to 150. He's fine. He's chilling. As for the Wood Elves, this is what I was worried about, though. Like, Orion is an artificially large amount of that balance of power shift. Oh, my God. Why are you going to fight Khalida? Why are you going to fight Khalida? Why would you fight Khalida? No, you were fine. You were safe, Orion, you piece of shit. He runs in, charges Khalida, just fucking dies, man. But he was getting through the, like, the Wood Elves are getting through the front line. Like, if Orion had just run around and healed, he would have been fine. Ooh. Okay. Whew, sorry, shouted too much. Head rush. If Nakai ran, he wouldn't provide the immune to psychology. Oh, you're talking about the previous game. Got it. Epic death, though. Yeah. She was gonna Venom Staff him to death. He had no choice. She has no Venom Staffs left. She had no cast left. That's funny. All right, Wild Riders fighting it out as best they can. Dryads turning around to fight the Skeleton Warriors and stuff. Casket of Souls gets a shot back onto the Skeleton Warriors and Spearmen over here. Actually, yeah, that was friendly fire mostly. Didn't hit that many Dryads. But now we have 2 Necropolis Knights that are still pretty healthy, and they're doing their best to disrupt the Wood Elves. We do have 1 Glade Guard, but that's what the Knights are going after, so they can't get shot with the Glade Guard. It's fine. Human Boy died doing what he loves. Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to catch my breath a little bit. We still have pretty bad air quality here, but it was good enough that I could stream. But yeah, shouting like that, I had this moment where I had to stop. I was like, oh, okay, catch your breath. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Necropolis Knights sprinting through those Glade Guard. Treekin are still here. They're very tanky. They're very healthy. And they're not unbreakable. Though I kind of think of them like a demonic or an undead unit where I'm like, oh, they'll just start crumbling. I forgot. Treekin are actually like, you know, they can rout. So the Tomb Kings are running out of infantry. They lost one of their Casket of Souls. The other one is trying to get a little bit of space. Chosen the Gods very low, but they are faster than the Treekin by a good amount. So they should be able to kite infinitely for free here as I see some cluster arrows coming out. Yeah, a good bit of damage. And the Branch Wraith is still here. So Orion, normally when you lose your Lord, like not all the time, but often it's also your caster. So it is interesting to still have a hero caster running around. Casket of Souls is attacked by the Raise to the Frozen Heart, slowing it to 9 speed, so it can't get out of here. The Wood Elves are about to get a big burst of balance of power as the Casket of Souls goes down with a good amount of ammunition left. One of the Necropolis Knights is nearly spent, the other one's still very healthy. And we do have Glade Guard who back off and keep firing into the Necropolis Knights, getting a little bit of poke before they inevitably die. Chosen the Gods up on the high ground, shooting down is a problem, however, because the Wood Elves are down to most of their carry potential is in non-single entity sources. Like, the Branch Wraith is solid, but the Chosen the Gods are great at shooting all this stuff. It's not like, you know, Orion, where they didn't do that much damage to him. My man nearly had an aneurysm watching Orion yell himself into Khalida. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I have asthma and there's a shit ton of smoke, so I'm like, I was yelling and stuff, and then all of a sudden I was trying to take a breath and it was like, oh, that breath's not coming too easy. All right. Necropolis Knight's about to get sandwiched between Treekin. This is honestly an interaction I have never seen before casting Total War for 4 years, so that's pretty exciting at least. Seeing Treekin surround a Necropolis Knight, 2 units that, like, in the history of Total War have been considered pretty bad. Necropolis Knight's got some buffs, you know, last year that people started to think they're good. It's a debate. Some people think they're good. Some people, like me, still think they're trash, but it's debatable for sure. I think Treekin are, like, objectively bad in multiplayer. The campaign stands are gonna show up and tell me they're amazing if you make a blob of them in campaign. I'm like, yeah. Different game mode, different unit. Chosen the Gods getting worked down by the Branch Wraith and the Wraith of Frozen Heart. Once again, the Wraith of Frozen Heart, when they catch you, they apply that slow, so you're now down to 19 speed. The Chosen Gods just have to stand and fight. They can't get away if they wanted to. The other Necropolis Knights charge back in, get actually really good impact damage on the Wraith of the Frozen Heart, but as we've been saying, every time the Wraiths touch something, that Frostbite slow drags you down. So now the Chilling Aura plus Frostbite, their speed is minus 44. They can't get away from this, so they are stuck fighting the Wraith of the Frozen Heart until they kill them, I guess. I didn't know that the Wraiths had the Chilling Aura as well. That's actually pretty brutal. Yeah. Khalida is trying to kill the Branch Wraith. Get rid of her. Get rid of that slow healing. The Wood Elves have been spamming out Earthbloods, trying to keep the Wraith of the Frozen Heart and these Treekin alive. And Wraith's hanging on for now. Their immune to psychology doing big work, but oh, their leadership dips. Negative 13. Back to positive 7. It's fine. But as long as they stand, they should do okay. They can probably kill, if they don't rout, which is a big if. They can kill these Nekar Horsemen, these Skeleton Warriors, these Necropolis Knights. They can kill all that stuff pretty easily. This Necropolis Knight is more of a problem. But I don't know. I'm doing what I can here. The Wraiths of the Frozen Heart are fine. The last Necropolis Knight joins the fight. So a half-health Necropolis Knight and a full-health Khalida need to be enough to kill a Branch Wraith and these Treekin and the Wraiths. The Wood Elves, it is possible they win, but I would definitely bet on the Tomb Kings at this point, as like, God, their leadership has just been flagging for so long. The Branch Wraith's healing cap has appeared as Khalida is kicking her ass right now, but some of the Tomb Kings are starting to fade away. Necropolis Knights fading. That's less unit flags. That's less units that can flank you and lower your leadership. Other Treekin are routed off as Necropolis Knights in the distance rally with 3 leadership and 300 HP. They're back to crumbling. More Skeleton Warriors crumbling as well. Dude, what I love most about Undead games is just watching the game get simplified as entire units get taken out. Mortal versus Mortal, you have a bunch of guys routing or shattering or whatever, and it's just chaos. Undead games always get way simpler. And bam. We're down to the 3 units that actually have health versus the 3 units the Wood Elves have that have enough courage to fight them. Treekin, the Branch Wraith, and the Wraith of Frozen Heart still fighting, and like we have said all game long with those slow auras, 22 speed, these Necropolis Knights cannot get away in Cycle Charge. They are just stuck here fighting the Wraiths, fighting the Branch Wraith, fighting all this stuff. And oh, disaster for the Wood Elves as the Wraiths of the Frozen Heart finally have enough, finally call it quits. And there's no way they'll rally. I mean, the Snakes are just going to follow them to the edge of the map. Khalida is going to keep trying to duel the Branch Wraith. The Snakes will follow the Wraiths of the Frozen Heart, and the Treekin aren't enough to win after that. Hawk Riders are the worst. Yeah, Hawk Riders are terrible. Flat out terrible. They didn't used to be. In Warhammer 2, they were good. Alright. Khalida and all these guys still dueling, trying to get rid of the Treekin. I think this is probably cooked. I don't see a way for the Wood Elves to get any damage out. Like, the Treekin and the Branch Wraith will last for a while. But no one's captured the point, so it's not like lasting for a while is going to be an inherent win condition. And these Treekin just relying on 47 melee defense and high armor versus the oh crap, I didn't realize that. Look at this. 19 and 42 for melee stats versus 29 and 40. So both of these units have crazy high melee defense and horrible melee attack, which is why this is going fucking nowhere. It's just it's just a battle of rubber bands. They're both just bouncing off each other all over the place. And Khalida keeps getting kicked around, so she can't even apply her melee stats. Holy. The Tomb Kings need to route that Treekin. There they go, and then Army Losses takes hold. But I didn't realize, because without the Halberds, the Necropolis Knights don't actually have anti-large, so they weren't getting much out. Whew. Chat, I'm struggling. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're having to take big old breaths. Okay. Chosen Gods did well. Casket of Souls, honestly, neither of them did that great. Necropolis Knights did fantastically. And Nekar Horsemen, one of them got a lot of value, so I'm guessing it chased something down that was pretty expensive. On the other side for Ash, Orion got sniped out by Shems and Venom Staff Forever. Dryads did okay, but the Wraiths of the Frozen Heart did most of the work. The one Glade Guard that didn't get killed by the Casket of Souls right away did actually very well. And then Treekin, even after all that fighting, one almost paid for itself. Scarbrand, you still have a life. Scarbrand, I can see what you see. I think he means a literal life, like here. I don't think he means like, bro, get a life. Like, I don't think he was being a dick. I think he was being sincere, asking if you had a life. Because Scarbrand the Exiled, the player, was not playing Scarbrand in this tournament. Pegaz was. Scarbrand the player is either playing Valkyrie or Skulltaker. I don't see Valkia, so he must be playing Skulltaker. Yeah, he's in. But no, if because Arball the Undefeated is Spotify, I know that, and Spotify's the one talking to you. But yes, he means in the tournament, not like get a life, bro. I don't know. I know I've talked about it for a bit. I saw it and I was like, man, that's really dickish. I'm not going to mention that. And then I was like, wait, I think he means the other thing. Okay, I'm gonna check on chat. I need a minute. After the Sunday fight, I'm fighting with Berserkers. You may be cooked. Maybe. Whew. All right, I'm gonna switch my desk to seated. I'm gonna sit down, see if that helps a little bit. Oh boy. Have you tried simply having better lungs, Ratman? Ah, dude, I've tried. What's the air quality right now? Current air quality conditions. Unhealthy for sensitive groups. I'm a sensitive group. Oh no! Yeah. Dude, look where I like live. Look at this. There's yellows and oranges and shit. And this is better. So like moderate and unhealthy for sensitive groups are all over the place. And this is better than it has been. It's been red the last couple days. Air quality forecast. Orange today. It's supposed to get back to being orange, I think. Orange tomorrow. Like this, when you're like, man, human boy, why ain't you been casting? Why ain't you been casting? I've been fucking dying here, dude. Dying in this. Look at my poor state. Ugh. And it's been red too. Like, this is better. Believe it or not, this is better. Last couple days, it was red all the way through. Shit hurts. Hurts, son. I like how it's green in Canada. It's even there smoke. Yeah. Okay. I was taking a little break to get better. We'll see how many more games I have left in me. We'll see. I knew I wasn't going to cast every replay today because I got a shit ton from this tournament, but I wanted to cast some of them. Spotify versus Book of Cash. Okay. We can... I'll try and aim for 3 games. I'll try and aim for 3 games, because there's a Queek game, which someone's been asking for Queek this whole time. There's a Spotify game, and he's in chat. So, we'll try that. I do need to figure out the order on something, because something isn't adding up for me. Okay. Got it. So that is the right order. All right, let's do this. So in the 2 life category, we have Azazel versus Arball. Aim for 17. Okay, Azazel versus Arball. Let's do this. For Azazel and Slaanesh, we have 4 Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh, some Devoted Marauders, 3 Exalted Demonettes, 2 Seekers, Azazel himself, and the Chaos War Shrine of Slaanesh, with no caster on it, so there's no way of healing itself, but it is a Mortis engine at the end of the day. On the other side for Khorne, we have Hounds of the Blood Hunt, Chaos Furies, a bunch of them, Then we have 2 Minotaurs, Arbol the Undefeated in frontline, Forsaken, but a big engagement already. Acquiescence onto Fleshhounds of Khorne as Seekers are stuck fighting them. But Chaos Fury is flying in the back, and overall I think this will actually be a good trade for Khorne, taking out a Seeker at the cost of a Fleshhound. Definitely worth it in the end. Really good 2v1 wraparound there from Khorne, so nice job. Exalted Demonette frontline should do fantastically against Khorne's Forsaken. Yeah, they are ripping through these guys, so Khorne's going to have a pretty bad time there as the Hounds of the Blood Hunter here. And remember, the Mortis engine has to charge up, so it doesn't actually do any damage when the game starts, and it's already at 20%, but it is now surrounded with no infantry to support it. This Mortis engine is going to die very quickly against the dogs and the Minotaurs. We'll see how that goes. As the Exalted Demonettes, not a unit you see often, so it is cool to see them doing well, but they ripped through the Forsaken. And they're already moving over here on towards Arbol, who does have his explosion, which does a ton of damage, and then he has his Chaos Spawn summon, which is quite nice as well. Azazel's trying to avoid the Chaos Furies, and the Chaos Furies taking out Seekers or whatever, but there is 4 Skirmish Cav they might have a harder time with, though they did catch these 2 kind of on top of each other. We'll see how that goes. Chaos Shrine is already down to half HP, but the Demonettes are now moving in, and this is where it's going to turn. Hounds of the Blood Hunt and the Minotaurs do not want to deal with these Exalted Demonettes, and they're about to get ripped to shreds. So both sides dealing a lot of damage to each other over there. The Chaos Spawn Summon is out from Arbol, and Arbol got a brief duel with Azazel, and it looks like he was definitely winning that. But Azazel gets peeled, and he can't get back up into the sky as the Chaos Furies of Khorne are getting taken out. Seekers barely clinging to life, but 2 different Furies dying at the same time is pretty bad for Khorne's balance of power. Balance power is 50-50, but Khorne does have a summon on the field, a full health Chaos Spawn, so that has to be remembered, but the Seekers leave as well. And we still have these Chaos Furies. I don't know how this situation happened, but it is going a lot longer than Slaanesh would like. So these Chaos Furies are just eating good in the neighborhood against those Marauder Horsemen. War Shrine escapes, and Exalted Demonettes continue to fight against the Hound of Blood Hunt and the Minotaurs, who are trying to path through this and just get in here, but all the Skirmish Cav and Azazel end up fighting the Chaos Furies and getting rid of those guys. I think that is the net on the Minotaurs. Yes, Narcissism nets them in place wherever they are. Ooh, and it's for a rear charge from the Exalted Demonettes. Be able to take these guys out. Oh, that's why the Hounds of the Blood Hunt didn't die. They have the dampening. They get rid of the magic attacks of the Demons of Chaos, so they their physical resistance doesn't get mitigated. I was wondering how they lasted so long in a fight with Exalted Demonettes. So the Minotaurs are about dead as Azazel nets them in place, but Arbol is getting his own revenge on the Mortis engine to make sure that this doesn't come down to a late game grind where that Mortis engine drains all of his forces to death. So he is going to get rid of that thing once and for all. Both sides trading a lot of damage. All health bars getting very low except for Kaiju's Slaanesh Horsemen. Those are going to be a big problem for Khorne in the late game, I think. Still have 2 that are very healthy with a lot of ammo, 1 that is wounded with a lot of ammo. And where's the 4th one? There it is. Pretty wounded, decent amount of ammo. Minotaurs are starting to rout. Arbol is not, but he did kill that War Shrine at last, though the balance of power has shifted against Khorne pretty heavily. Hounds of the Blood Hunt going to try and get on the Marauder Horsemen, and if they can latch onto them, that'll be really good, because they'll start getting that slow healing of theirs. And they are getting rid of the magic damage of the missiles of Slaanesh. So Slaanesh's missiles are actually usually pretty good against Fleshhounds, because magic damage, but getting rid of that, very nice. Azazel's going to try and take a fight with Arbol. Charmed and Acquiescence both working against him. Azazel's jumping in. The Demonettes are nearby as well. Arbol is not going to be able to clear out the Demonettes very quickly. Ooh, he does have that explosion. So if his explosion is up, he somehow kills the Demonettes and then duels Azazel to the death. Actually, this could be a big Arbol angle. He gets Relentless Rage just to give him Unbreakable, just to make sure nothing shenanigans-wise happens. And then there goes Fury of the Blood God. Decent explosion. You saw that big chunk of damage on those Demonettes, so he's pretty close to getting them to Demonic Instability crumble as he continues to fight Azazel. He is taking a lot of damage. Bounce power shift against Khorne pretty heavily, so I think Khorne is doomed in this game, but Arbol maybe could have... Why don't you have immune to psychology? Okay, whatever. He maybe could have dealt with the situation he was in, but then I don't know how he deals with the Skirmish Cav. I know I say it a lot, and like, oh, this character should have immune to psychology, this character should have immune to psychology, and eventually you're like, everyone should have immune to psychology. That's a fair criticism, but I do think a lot more characters need ITP, because like, Arbol not having it is crazy. Tyrion not having it is crazy. Like, from who they are as characters, it's weird that they don't have ITP. Arbol's damage value was very, very good. Forsaken did okay, honestly, considering the matchup they had against Demonettes. I'm surprised they did as well as they did. Fleshhounds did okay. The other side for Kaiju, his War Altar didn't do that much damage, but it did distract stuff for a while. His Demonettes really brought in the value. Seekers did okay, and his Skirmish Cav did fine. Do Chosen still not have ITP? I think they don't. I think they do not. All right, so our ball falls down to 1 life. And I think this next game is going to be my last one. I was running on fumes that last game too. I was like struggling to catch my goddamn breath. My goddamn breath. Okay. So we got some games out. Last game of the day, because people want the Queek. We will give them the Queek. Where is it? I just saw it. God damn it. There we go. Queek versus Azazel in the winner's bracket. Here we go. Hummus Boy No versus Kaiju. And I'm playing seriously. Fuck you, I'm playing seriously. Warp Fire Throwers, OP. Queek Head Taker, OP. This is a good build. This is a good build. Thank you, Humor, for streaming at Europe Friendly Time. Oh, we're trying. Okay, for my build, here's the thought behind it, whether or not you agree. I put Storm Vermin Halberds on the flanks because they don't have Queek, and then I kept Clan Rats in the middle with Queek because he gives them leadership, and he should keep them in the fight. Warp Fire Throwers are part of my front line. I treat them like blasting charges because Demonettes of Slaanesh or Marauders or whatever are all going to be low enough armor that the magic damage, burst damage of Warp Fire Throwers can just like flat out kill Demonettes. And you're only taking them for 1 volley. That's the thing, is you don't try and, in my opinion, you shouldn't try and use Warp Fire Throwers as an actual ranged unit because you just can't get the Arc of Fire. Just put them in your front line, get the 1 important volley or 2 important volleys, and then call it a day. And then they have this burnt leadership debuff. So if Slaanesh doesn't chase them all the way off the map, they come back in the late game and just get a couple burnt leadership debuffs on people, and it's a nuisance. Assassin with Rival Hide Talisman, minus 40 melee attack, blunt Slaanesh's charge, and if the game goes longer, the Skaven win. We have a couple Poison Globes and Night Runners and Gutter Runners, 6 360 Skirmishers to shoot at all of Slaanesh's low armor nonsense, and then a Plague Priest with both summons just to delay the game as much as possible. For Kaiju and his Slaanesh build, I can't speak to what he was meant to do with it because I'm not him, but I went into detail on my build because I knew what I was trying to accomplish. He has Devoted Marauder frontline trying to give me as worst targets as possible for my globes, then a bunch of Hellstriders, Exalted Demonettes, Fiends, and Chariots for a lot of disruption. Azazel with just his Rampage, and then Chaos Furies in the back line. Weaken the boys moving forward. The Warp Fire Throwers almost delete entire Devoted Marauders on the charge. And they rout those ones, so they did their jobs. They rout both the Devoted Marauders, so they did their jobs. Fiends are now going to have to clean them up, and Rival High Talisman lowers their melee stats, but it is too late to save any of my poor boys. Chariots run into my Halberds and Spears and don't get too much done. As Globes throw at the Chariots, I definitely misclicked. I meant to throw at the Marauder Spears, but in come those Chaos Furies. So my 360 Skirmishers are going to have to start to earn their keep as the Assassin's going to continue to harass the Fiends. Queek is just daring Azazel to come fight him. And Hellstriders run into these Warp Fire Throwers and just get deleted by the Poison Globes and forced away. I summon a Clan Rat quick for rear charging and because Furies are closing in. Kaiju throws the rest of his guys at my Poison Globes, and the Fiends have already taken out a Globe and a Warp Fire Thrower, and now they're taking out another Globe. So these Fiends have just been ripping through my back line. But we do still have a bunch of Skirmishers that are able to peel for themselves. As Hellstriders jump onto my Night Runners. Do need to pull those Clan Rat Spears up soon. Chaos Fury's fighting my Summon and my Plague Priest. And the Assassin's still just wandering around doing assassin stuff as my Kiters continue to kite away. There we go. I pulled them back to my Spears, so my Spears are now engaging the Hellstriders while the other 2 Skirmishers shoot at the Hellstriders' backsides. And we have a Poison Globe. Still firing away. Queek is happy as a clam on the front line, just chilling. Waiting for Azazel to come fight him, or anyone to come fight him, as Clan Rats move on to fighting Devoted Marauders. Now, we do have some Skirmishers that are getting run around. Exalted Demonettes, Azazel, and some Furies nearby is a little concerning for losing some of those units. Skaven are way ahead on the balance of power at this point, but Fiends are still Fiends. They have caught some of my Night Runners with Furies. Could do a lot of damage to me. I lost my Globes! My poor Globes! But Marauders of Slaanesh did done killed them. Still have very healthy Storm Vermin Halberds on both flanks. Still have a healthy Queek, so maybe we're doing all right. And I have the capture point. Queek standing on it. It's generally what I tried to do this tournament is just put Queek on the capture point, and I'm like, you can run me around the map as much as you want, but at some point you're gonna have to come over here. Night Runners continue to kite out Exalted Demonettes. They get Sweet Sorrow for extra speed, 62 speed versus my 49 as my little cheeky rats are trying to run away. Get out of there, run away. Do not let them catch you. They're gonna catch you. Oh my God, you're gonna die. Gutter Runners with their poison and with their snare net, they do actually affect your speed quite a lot, so they are kiting out pretty good, but Kaiju's sick of my bullshit, so he is gonna rampage them soon. The first part's just damage and vigor, and the rampage is gonna kick in, and now they're stuck just fighting demonettes, and he catches those guys with the Furies, so good catch for him. Meanwhile, the rest of the battlefield has fallen apart for Slaanesh. We have Fiends still clinging to the last man, but my skirmishers are gonna take him out. Goodbye, Fiends. Goodbye, some of my skirmishers. They just get murdered in the back line. And the boys all start to recoalesce as Queek and my Plague Priest and my Storm Vermin start to stand on the point. Let's all group up, lads. Don't let Slaanesh just pick us off for free and charge army passive chasing our corpses around the battlefield. So my skirmishers that are too far away to get back to the main point, I just have them at least fight with the last of, well, a little on brand for what I'm going through right now, but the last of the air in their lungs, I have them keep scrapping. I have clan rats chasing devoted marauders and stuff, but the main plan is just reform around the point. Slaanesh wants to isolate and kill off anything that's out of position, so just bring everything worthwhile back into position and we'll be okay. Gutter Runners fighting against the Slaanesh Chariot. Gutter Runners are decently good hybrid combatants with 26, 29 melee stats and poison. So the Chariot did not enjoy that. Instead goes to rear charge my Night Runners, which are already under attack by Furies, which made me sad, panda. The point is mine. I control the point. The point is mine. And it is ticking up. Chaos Fury is getting very close to Demonic Instability crumbling as they help Azazel kill off my Gutter Runners. Night Runners use the last of their ammunition. And the Chaos Chariot does shatter one of my Night Runners as he's down to one model and 400 HP, shanked by a bunch of filthy rats. He is going to rout. Skaven chill. Once again, I'm not going to aid them because I'm on the point, which is where I want to be, and I don't want to get dragged around the map. These units are all fucking toast, and I acknowledge that, but I didn't want to wander over there and like get staggered, and then Azazel like rampages something out of position, and it's like, all right, we accept that those Gutter Runners and those Night Runners are all dead. We know that. I'm gonna fast forward, as I know those guys are just getting picked off. I just want to stay tight. Stay together. Complete the box. Pentagon. Now I'm just letting my clan rats rest, but I have 2 fresh Storm Vermin. And I do throw a summon. Oh, I'm under the map. Oh no. I throw a summon at him. Where are we? There we go. Throw a summon at him. Stop his spears. Get some free damage on him. My front line continues to rest, get the vigor back. And he rampages my Plague Priest, but notice, he rampages my Plague Priest. I see what direction he's running, and I just run everyone with him. And I'm like, no, you're not isolating my Plague Priest. The Storm Vermin, Queek, and the Assassin are all going with. No one is leaving anywhere alone. Buddy system. Azazel lands down with his Demon Blade, getting some extra damage out. I summon a Plague Monk behind these Demonettes. So the Exalted Demonettes are last thing on the map that can threaten my Storm Vermin. I throw a Plague Monk on top of them. Plague Monks do great into Demonettes. Azazel ends up in a 2v1 against Queek and the Assassin. And the Assassin's just gonna walk Azazel around as Azazel does use the tier 2 silence and net to stop the Assassin so we get back into the sky. Plague Monks are still fighting the Demonettes, and I just get my Storm Vermin to walk away from those Exalted Demonettes. I'd rather they fight a summon with anti-infantry and high weapon strength than fight my poor armored Storm Vermin. And army losses will hit. Queek still didn't get to fight Azazel like he wanted to, but he did some stuff. He had 150 hull value. But yeah, I actually do like Warp Fire Throwers here, and they did good this game, so I just wanted to show them and be like, hey, Warp Fire Throwers, pretty solid. Hi, Segos. Human Boy destroyed me in land battles, so I'm rooting for you even though it's Skaven. I'm sorry, Chameleon Pete. I'm sorry I apparently destroyed you. That's my bad. Night Runners got a lot of good value for me. Warp Fire Throwers did their jobs. Like, they just traded 1-for-1 with a Marauder and then were a nuisance otherwise. Gutter Runners did fantastic. Globes did all right. GG's. For Kaiju, his Marauders got mostly decapitated. Exalted Demonettes did okay. Hellstriders, not great, unfortunately, for him. Chariot, not great. Fury's not great. Fiends did fine. GG. Slaanesh nerfs OP. Okay. Okay, so we gotta move Azazel to the 1-lifes. And then I'm just looking at stuff. Okay, there's still a lot of games. There's a lot of games. Too many. There's too many games. I can't cast them all. I can't do it. The lights are fading. Tequila Sunset should be streaming soon, right? Is my boy streaming? That just proves your point about how you said Queek should buff things as long as he's alive and fighting. Yeah, I do think that'd be a good way to get people to actually choose to fight him. Because he's not that insane of a combatant. He's strong, but he's not like unbeatable. But right now there's no reason for people to, you know. There's no reason for people to go fight him. At least like giving him a charging buff would get people to go partake in combat. All right. Let's see. Tequila Sunset is streaming in an hour. I can't last that long. So I'm going to raid his stream just so that people know about it. But yeah, we'll do more streams soon. But this is going to be the end for me. The end for Legendary Lord Tournament Part 2. Ugh, my poor lungs. Human Boy, why haven't you been streaming recently? Because my air is poison. It's full of smoke and death. All right, goodbye, my friends. We will stream more soon. We have Faction War streams to do to get it caught up. Top 4 is ready. They'll be live next Sunday. We'll do top 4 for the Faction War. Yeah. That's what I got. Bye-bye. Go watch Tequila Sunset's thing. It starts in an hour.